to get things started tonight, Astrid has got a wonderful presentation, which we'll go through now. And please, whilst that stimulates questions, please do put them in, as Astrid said, into the comments, and we'll put that to the people here who have first-hand experience of shopping in Portugal and knowing firsthand what we're up against in terms of the cost of living. So Astrid, over to you with your presentation.
Thank you, Carl. I thought today's theme would be quite relevant for a lot of people who are planning to move to Portugal, because we see often in the forum about, you know, how much do you need to live? How much do I need? Is this enough money to get by, etc., etc. And personally myself, when I go to a foreign country, I love getting into the supermarkets and having a look around and price comparing and all that kind of stuff. It's a bit crazy of me to do that, but I love it. So what I've done is put together a little bit of a presentation, and I've also prepared or cooked 3 different meals and priced them up for you, so you can compare what the price is here and what would probably cost you to make that in your country. So let me just get my screen share up. I had a bit of fun working on a little presentation. If it works, here we go.
I'm hearing some lovely opera in the background. Is that your husband, Maria?
Yeah, I'm going to go close the door. I just realized that you could. He's practicing. Just one sec.
He's good.
Okay, so the supermarket shopping, the cost of living in Portugal. I'll go through this really quick, and I'm going to offer it to everybody through a link at the end of it. So if you want a copy, please just download it and you can have it for yourself. Or if you're watching this on YouTube afterwards and you want a copy of this, please just send us through an email, and happy to share it with you. So basically there's quite a few major supermarket chains here in Portugal. There's more supermarkets here than there is in Australia for a much smaller demographic or populations, which just amazes me. There's a supermarket pretty much on every corner when you're throughout Lisbon. These are probably the main players in the marketplace. There are a lot of other ones as well. I put each of the website addresses there, so that if you wanted to go and have a look online to sort of get a bit of a gauge of the price point of your favorite things, you can definitely go and copy those URLs into your browser and take a look around. But they're most likely the major ones that are here. So now I'm just going into some of the different categories for price point. So I put here for you what it is in English, and excuse my my Australian English here, spelling litre that way and not the American way. And also I know that it's in metric, not in your form, but this is all that I know. And I've also translated it into Portuguese there, so that if you do want this and you go to the supermarket, you know what you're after. So just going through what the different prices are there. I must say that this is also based on the Continent supermarket, which is probably the biggest one here, and based on the home brand unless otherwise stated. And I chose to do that because it's probably the lower end of the market, so or the cheaper end of the market, so that you could therefore up it if you wanted to, go for more premium brands. But so most of this is based on the supermarket brand. So this is quite interesting to see meat. Compared to Australia, the meat here is very, very affordable. I often get surprised with the prices when I visit back home. But what happens in the supermarkets, they have what's called a talo. So they actually have a butcher in there. So you can go in there and they'll cut the meat according to the way that you want it. So it doesn't always have to come in pre-packaged styrofoam boxes or plastic boxes that you get in a lot of supermarkets. So you can go and buy it as per the weight that you require. There's just some price points there. Fish and seafood is very, very affordable in Portugal. They eat a lot of fish here, and I'm always often surprised with the price of, for example, their trout. A whole trout's only €4.19 a kilogram. So I love eating trout, and it's one of the cheapest fish that you can buy here. Oysters and prawns are also very, very affordable, and octopus is a very, very popular dish here in Portugal too, and it's quite affordable compared to Australia, which is all for you. Just a bit of a list of pantry essentials as well. So I've listed again the name in English, the size of the packaging, and what the translation is into Portuguese, and the price point. So you can see that things are really, really affordable. We're looking at, you know, spaghetti for 45 cents a packet, you know, tin of tomatoes, 43 cents. Like these prices are pretty low. And you can see how Portugal is known as being a very affordable place to live because of that. So that's some information for you. Also drinks, so this is very interesting. I've put here alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages. So from instant coffee right through to Coca-Cola. I thought I would add here the Tanqueray gin, being that it's very, very popular. A 700 ml Tanqueray gin here in the supermarket will cost you just under 20 euros. The equivalent would cost you over $80 in Australia. So for us, we go pretty crazy on the gin here. Also, if you like your French champagne, it's quite a good price here too. So Veuve Clicquot is around 49 euros in the supermarket. If you were to buy that back at my home, you're looking at well over $150. So very, very affordable. The other one is beer. Beer is very, very cheap. This is the full price, but if you go to the supermarket at the right time, you often get up to 50% discount. So you just a matter of going in and keeping an eye on when things get reduced. So it's really, really good to get a bargain. You just need to keep on top of all the supermarkets for when they do go. I haven't put wine here in a list because there's so many wines to choose from. So what I've asked is for a few people to bring along their favourite bottle of supermarket wine and maybe explain what price point they paid for it in the supermarket. So Carl, should we start with you?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a Colette Velio here. I'm not seeing if I'm holding that in the right place. Can you see that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Cool. And that was originally $8.99 in Continent, marked down to $2.89, and it's really very good. That's a Ribatejo wine, the area just north of Lisbon. So it was a great markdown and a very good quality wine. Really enjoyed that one. Jerry, I think might have a favorite as well.
Okay, I'll start with this one. It's a rosé. Can you see that? Espinal rosé.
Yes.
Which is a very drinkable, palatable rosé. Must be served chilled, but it's also very expensive. It's €1.79 per bottle in Aldi. And actually, I highly recommend it. There's nothing wrong with it whatsoever. Then I moved up a little bit, not quite up into Carl's league, but I thought I'd try a Vino Verde. My favorite wine is what they call the green wines from the Douro. And again, in Aldi, this cost the princely sum of €3.99. And again, highly recommended. For days when you can afford it. When you can't afford it, have the rosé. Finally, I bought some beer. This is called Crystal. It's quite a pleasant lager. I prefer it to the more popular Sangres. And 6 bottles of Crystal, a 6-pack, €2.65. So less than 40 cents or 40 cents thereabouts per bottle. So that's it. I'm done. I find a corkscrew and I'll see you all later.
Thanks, Jerry. You've earned that. Very comprehensive and remarkable value. Tammy saying, I couldn't believe how inexpensive wine was when we were there in September versus Canada. That alone is enough reason to move there next spring. Yes, we'll drink to that, Tammy. Let's see. Is Bruce here at the moment? We'll give him a chance.
Yes, he is.
I know he's here. We'll give him a chance to unmute and speak of his favourite wine. I know Bruce is partial to a glass or two, I think.
I'll quickly talk about my favourite wine.
Oh, please do, yeah. Oh, your green screen is doing a Doctor Who effect on it. There we go.
So this is my current favourite wine. It's called Catalina. It's a beautiful, fresh white wine. This is top shelf for us. This is when we want to do something really, really special. And we pay about €6 a bottle for that. That's a splurge. But if we go to somewhere like Macro, which is the big cash and carry place, you can get a box of 12 and it comes down to €4 each. So that's our splurge bottle. Otherwise, we kind of find good wines at around €3.50 in the supermarket. But that's my favorite at the moment.
Fantastic. Maria, I'm sure, will be able to speak of her favorite.
This is the same wine that we started yesterday, Carl. I didn't finish it.
Really?
As drunk as I probably seemed, I only had a glass and a half. So it's the same bottle. And it is the Secret Garden wine that normal retail price is $12.99. And when it's on sale at the Continent, it is $3.99. And so usually at that point, I'll buy, 10 bottles or something. We also, this is a Vinho Verde from the Alvarinho district. And we also have a wine that we love from Quinta das Pereirinhas, which is in the Monção at the very top of Portugal. And we order it by the case. So we get usually a pallet. And it's embarrassing to admit that we've had 3 pallets delivered since July 2019. And I thought it was a big, huge winery, and we went to visit, and it's somebody's house. It's like some guy in his backyard making wine, which was perfect. We love it. And that's €4 a bottle when you're getting it, bulk like we do. But this Secret Garden, I love it. Jardim Secreto. Very nice white wine. I'm drinking it out of a water glass.
Classy. Very nice. Very nice.
I'm very elegant.
Anna is laughing quite a lot at our drinking habits. I don't know if you want to make a comment, Anna, about this expat drinking habit, especially when the transit van turns up and it's a pallet.
It's very strange, but I don't drink wine. I'm sorry.
Oh, I see. Okay, so from 2 points of view.
Only sweet wines.
Okay.
Like Porto or Muscatel or, well, when the alcohol starts to be high, I like them.
Oh, okay, all right. So that's probably what the real Portuguese do then. Okay, and leave the low volume alcohol volume wines to the expats. Let's go back to Astrid now, because we're only some way through the presentation, and we'll come back to Bruce a bit later on as well.
Great. Okay, I'll just turn my screen back on. Okay, so we're back on track. So there's a little bit of wine. You can see that it's very, very affordable and a great range. You get overwhelmed when you are at the supermarket. There's such a big choice too. And also they do have foreign wines there too. So not just Portuguese, but they do have a great range from other countries too. Then we have, whoops. Toiletries, so entry-level home brand, Continent brand. You've got shampoo and conditioner from about €49. Dove soap, they didn't have any home brand soap, but Dove, I think, is a brand that everybody's familiar with. So a pack of 4 of those is a bit more expensive at €4.99. Toilet paper for 24 rolls is only €3.74. And a whitening toothpaste is a big 84 cents. So very, very cheap. Cleaning and washing up. So you've got dishwashing liquid and tablets, which are very reasonably priced. They didn't have any powdered Continent brand laundry powder. So Surf was the closest brand that I thought people might be familiar with abroad. And you can see then that the price starts getting up. So about 92 doses is just under €25, and floor cleaner is only 79 cents. So you can, very affordable. Fruit and veg, again, very, very reasonably priced. Avocados, €4.99 a kilo. You pay $5 just for one avocado in Australia, so €4.99 for a kilo is pretty impressive. Then we've got butternut pumpkin, red cabbage. Again, all these prices are based on full retail price. There's no sales here, but often when you go to the supermarket, you'll find that a lot of these will be on special. We've got, what's wrong with it? It stopped.
You've got a freeze on your presentation.
Yeah, it's frozen on me. Oh. This is what happened when we go live.
think what you're telling us, Astrid, is not to live in Australia.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's a pretty clear message tonight, isn't it?
I don't know why this isn't working. Okay.
All right. Well, we did have a question from Sandra. Got on a bit late. She says, "Have you spoken of your favourite markets for general grocery shopping?" So we did go through the supermarkets. There's a very good choice of the big supermarkets. Actually, in anticipation of tonight, I did have a sort of pang of guilt, thinking, there's a lot of messages at the moment to support local shops and smaller shops, and I think that's something we should talk about tonight as well. I went to buy wine instead of from a discount from the supermarket. I went to a local village shop in the town I used to live in, and I visited there this afternoon. The prices are still good in local shops. You might imagine that because they're local shops, they can't compete very well with supermarkets. That may be the case with the really big markdowns, but and I'm not the best person to ask. I just tend to get my card out and pay, and I'm not a very competitive shopper. But looking at Astrid's presentation there and looking against my receipt that I did remember to keep today, it seems pretty competitive. And I think it's really important to support the little shops. And of course, we haven't mentioned the markets. I imagine both Bruce and Maria may have something to say about their local market and what's available, on market day. Have we got Bruce connected tonight? Are you there, Bruce?
I'm here.
There you are, Bruce. Lovely to see you. How are you?
I'm doing well, Carl. How about you?
I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, well, tell us which part of Portugal you're in, just to set the scene, Bruce. And
right now, I'm right on the border with Spain in Elvas.
Elvas, okay. All right. And the size of your household and your weekly spend approximately, I'll be asking you the same, Maria.
The size of the household is 2, although we very often will invite neighbors or bring something to a neighbor. The Portuguese are always knocking on our door, bringing baskets from their quintas, filled with vegetables and so forth. So when we make something that's a little bit different than stuff that they're used to having, we will bring it and share with our neighbors. Our weekly spend probably is about €100 a week.
All right, thank you. And do you have a local market?
We do have a local market. It's a mini mercado, but we also have access to every one of the shops that were listed as the major shops. And we're at the point where we know there are certain things we like from one store and certain things we like from another store. We can get the same product at a different price, a lower price at one than another. So we usually have one day a week that we do our grocery shopping, and we'll probably hit 2 or 3 different shops.
Okay, all right, but not a traditional market.
Once a week, there's a traditional market in the main city. We live in 2 villages. We divide our time between 2 different villages, okay, that have mini markets. And they're wonderful for, you forgot what, you need some water, you want a fresh roll or something like that. They're wonderful for running out, for toilet paper, for paper towel. But we usually go to we are easily accessible to the major cities that once a week have a large market, okay, an open market, and we will try to hit those.
Yeah, that's an amazing part of Portuguese life, I think. And I'll ask the same of you, Maria. I know in Tamar there's a very impressive weekly market. Is it a Friday or Saturday there?
Friday. It's on Friday.
Friday. So could you tell us as well, thanks, Bruce, could you tell us, Maria, the size of your household and your weekly spend?
Well, it's normally it's 2. At the moment, my niece is here from Canada, so there's 3 of us. And she is a bit of a fussy eater, so we're buying, fussy little avocados and funny little Madeira bananas that are much more expensive. But still, I'd say about 100 or so a week. And we cook a lot at home. We use a lot of different ingredients. And I like to keep a pantry stocked. I like to do baking. So 100 and 120 a week, I'd say.
Okay, and can you tell us a little bit about your market on Friday?
Oh, I love the market. The first thing I do when I go there is get a donut from the 90-year-old man who makes the farturas. That's the very first thing. €1 for a big, it's basically a churro. But the market is really great. They have one section of the market is the home growers who are kind of on the outskirts of the market. That's where I go first. It's all of the just independent people with their little garden, with their, you know, extra tomatoes or extra beans or something, or their eggs. I'll go to that first. And then on the other side of the market is the artisans who have, you know, the special cheeses, or the ladies who make this particular bread or this particular honey or something. And so I like to shop at anybody who looks like they're going to die in 10 years. That's where I'd like to spend my money. I want to give them a good send off. So if they're too young, you know, we'll get them in 20 years. But the market itself, and the amazing thing at the market is the fresh flowers are so reasonable. Like, when I was living in the United States, if I bought a bouquet of, I think they're called portulacas, they look like a kind of a blousy rose. If I bought 5 portulacas, it would cost me $10 and they die in a day. And here, I just get a huge bundle. I think they were €6 and they lasted almost 2 weeks. They were the freshest flowers. So that's one of the other things is, you know, you don't find flowers in supermarket, or maybe you do. You find plants in supermarkets here, but at the fresh markets, they have the most gorgeous fresh flowers and greenery.
Good to know. Good to know. The question from Mio that you might be able to address here, Maria, is there a difference in quality between the several supermarkets, mainly in terms of veg, fruit, meat? Oh, go on then. Tell us.
The meat, I find, even though I love the Continent, it's my go-to supermarket, I find that the meat seems to be less good than the Intermarché, but somebody gave me the tip. They said, your Portuguese is not good enough to get the good meat. You're getting the tourist meat. So you have to get somebody Portuguese to go and ask for it. But I don't think that's true. I think that was just a joke, because it's all the displayed. It's all the cuts of meat. It's not like they're going to the back and getting Angus for somebody who has a good accent. But I do find that the meat at the Intermarché, for whatever reason, it might be psychological, I prefer the meat at the Intermarché. One thing that I think that we touched on this, or maybe actually it was Jerry and Lucy when we were out for dinner, is that the meat in Portugal seems to be a little bit different than I'm used to. It doesn't seem to be aged at all, so it seems to have like a high water content. So for example, if I take a turkey cutlet that I've bought at the Continent and I put it on my stovetop grill pan, you know, that metal thing, not on an actual charcoal grill, a lot of water comes off of it. So I don't know. The meat here, the meat is not, for sure, the meat I think is not what I'm used to in North America. The fish is beyond superior. The meat, less so. I'm going to start raising my own cattle.
Okay, serious. Okay.
Well, no, I'm not serious.
People are asking, where are you located, Maria? What town is that?
I'm just 7 kilometers outside of Tomar, which is almost in the dead center of Portugal, in a little village called Casais, which is beautiful. I love it here.
And on our YouTube channel, you'll see the interview that Maria and I did last night. That is a proper deep dive into life in that area. I mean that in a good way. Michael's asking, can anybody explain to me why Portugal is so expensive on branded products? For example, Listerine mouthwash, my favorite, mint, is £2.09 in the English Lidl, and for the big usual bottle, near €5 in Portugal. I've seen this in many products. Yeah, I've noticed that too, Michael. The things that you're used to, I guess, branded things, and then they're maybe not sold or imported in such big quantities. Maybe that's part of it. But others, I'm sure, will have a view on that, Bruce, Maria. Whilst you're thinking about that, we're going to go back to some recipes now from Astrid, which illustrates more of the cost of living in terms of cooking.
Thanks, Carl. I think I'm ready to go. So
Great.
I've got things worked out. Okay, this is not what I cook. I did cook this dish, but mine didn't look quite like this. So this is a Jamie Oliver recipe that I found. I chose Jamie because I thought he was a universal name. Everyone would know who it was. So I cooked this pretty much using everything I could find that was close enough to this. To serve 4, it came to €19.67. So €4.90 per serve. The next dish that I prepared was spaghetti bolognese. pretty much again copied every ingredient that I could possibly find to a T. And the bill came to €21.08. So
Wow.
€5.27 per serve for the spaghetti bolognese. And finally, I made this apple and date pie, again, Jamie Oliver number. And the whole pie came to €5.90 or 98 cents per serve. So thank you, Jamie. That was definitely a treat, but well worth the saving there. But I couldn't believe €5.90 to make an apple pie. Just crazy. So
Yum. That looks great. Thank you for that. Eggs in that recipe, I noticed. Jeff's asking, can someone speak to the difference in the way eggs and milk are sold stored? My first response to that, Jeff, and we'll ask Bruce and Maria that as well, is that milk is often found in UHT form, which is a change for me in taste. But you can buy fresh milk as well in the bigger supermarkets. But generally speaking, I think people tend to use UHT because obviously it keeps better in the warmer weather. Eggs, I'm not aware of any difference apart from less availability of free range. But you can get organic eggs in Lidl, for example. It's just that they tend to be non-free range from my experience. Bruce, did you want to add anything to that?
Not to eggs. I can't speak to eggs, but I know one of the things that first just blew us away when we moved to Portugal is milk. Okay, now I went looking for half and half because Portuguese coffee is very strong. Okay, and I need to temper it a bit, and I'm used to drinking my coffee with half and half. I've started with medio gordo, medium fat, and now I go to latte entero. But one of the things that really did surprise me is coming from the United States, milk is always in the refrigerated case. It's always served cold, and its shelf life is not more than a week. And to see an entire aisle of cartons of milk on the shelf, okay, that are good for 4 months at such a low price really blew us away. That took some getting used to, but it was a very good getting used to.
Okay, thank you for that. And you responded to Michael, didn't you? Branded goods are just more expensive in Portugal.
Yes, they are. We have found everything from like Johnson & Johnson's Q-tips, baby powders. Michael spoke to Listerine. I will tell you that Heinz beans, just crappy Heinz beans. They're the lowest of the low of branded kind of beans in the United States. You get them 3 for $1 in the United States. Here in Portugal, it's like €1.87 per can.
Yeah.
Look to the store brands. There are very few store branded. Lower price is imported from the UK.
Yes. Yeah. I can't believe you said crappy Heinz. I'm struggling with that. That's going to upset a few Brits, Bruce. I'll handle that diplomatic storm.
Well, it's the same thing with hot dogs, okay? I miss real hot dogs, not those squiggly things in bottles that, you see on the shelves, and not chorizo and not salchicha. I want a good hot dog. Can't find it. Just can't find it. Closest you can get is something imported from Germany.
Okay, all right, thank you for that. Maria, you were talking here about mocking up your own creamer. You might have something to say about milk here in Portugal. And also, if you can answer the question about non-dairy milk as well, that'd be helpful.
Yeah, there's actually tons of options everywhere. I mean, again, I mentioned that my favorite store is Continent, but I go to all of the supermarkets. I love supermarkets. But there's lots of almond milk, there's soy milk, there's coconut milk, oat milk. What did I see the other day that I thought was kind of crazy? Well, it'll come to me. Anyways, the reason all of this is at the top of my mind, because my fussy niece, she's not here, so I'm calling her all kinds of names. My fussy niece was missing Starbucks so badly, and she couldn't believe there wasn't a Starbucks like within, 100 kilometers. And there's no Starbucks in Lisbon. They're closed for COVID. So we were trying to mock up something that would approximate what she was used to in her morning coffee, which was a vanilla coconut, something that had a bit more creamy kind of consistency. And so we ended up doing that with soy milk, half a teaspoon of vanilla essence, and I have sugar or syrup. What is it called? Sugar syrup for drinks, for cocktails. Sweet, simple syrup. It's called, I don't know, sugary liquid. We have that. So we made something up, and we do that with the, Astrid said about Aldi's, they've got the higher fat thing. But if you're used to Coffee Mate in your coffee, if you're used to those kinds of creamers, they just don't exist here. But there's lots of things that you can do to make your coffee delicious. You just have to get a bit creative.
Yes, and she'll be wanting a pumpkin spice, I guess, soon as well.
Oh, that's next, absolutely.
Yes, for sure. And
a puppuccino for the dog.
Yes, for people with special dietary needs, I'm noticing that Continent is very good. There's a whole aisle free from vegan, vegetarian, and so on. And for people who might want the closest thing to Whole Foods, that would be Solero, wouldn't it? There's a chain of stores called Solero, which you find in most shopping malls that has all the health foods and non-dairy alternatives, and a little cafe restaurant as well, which it's Mrs. M tends to go there. So we're pretty well catered for. If you've got gluten intolerance and
Lisbon here now, Carl, Continente have opened up their own organic supermarkets, and I'm just the name of them is on the tip of my tongue. It'll come to me shortly, but it's under the same brand as their organic produce that they sell in their supermarkets, but they actually have standalone stores now for organic product. And I also think that Aldi supports a lot of organic produce as well. It seems to be on the rise here. Plastic packaging is still quite extreme, but slowly I'm seeing there's more and more sort of cardboard wrapping and recycled paper and things like that. But Portugal's catching on. It's a little bit behind, but it's getting there.
And well, with vegans, I noticed in Lidl, there's a really good vegan burger and a vegan mince that they do called Next Level, which is a real surprise. And they also do a vegan pizza in there for the vegans. At the other end of the spectrum, Wayne is saying that he's a meat eater in a house full of veggies, and he's found a slightly different experience, I think, to you, Maria. Is quite happy with his meat intake newly in Portugal. I've got some lovely chicken and pork. Also, the restaurant at the Grutas São Antonio served the best steak I've ever had, he said. And I have traveled.
I know that one.
I've traveled the globe, says Wayne. We have a question about cream. Can we find heavy cream for baking or coffee? Astrid, are you the one to answer this? Because there are several creams in little cartons, aren't there, that take some getting used to, because they're for different kinds of Portuguese desserts. Can you explain the differences for us?
The only place that I found thick, in Australia we call it double cream, the extra thick stuff, fresh, is in Aldi. It's a 30% fat cream, really, really thick, really, really good. And Aldi is the only place too where you can find sour cream. So they've got creme fresh in Continente and Pingo Doce, but as far as fresh sour cream and fresh pouring cream, Aldi is the best place for that. They do sell long life UHT cream, but to me it's just not the same.
Okay, fair enough. That does take a bit of getting used to, but you do. The bread man, that's a Portuguese thing. I think both Maria and Bruce have experiences of the bread man. Bruce?
Yes, sir.
Do you have a bread man who delivers?
No. We have paderias and pastelerias, and as anyone who knows me is aware, that when my time comes, okay, I would like my memorial service to be held in a Portuguese pastelaria.
Okay.
I think the breads and the desserts, the pastéis of Portugal are just to die for, literally.
And that's where you have your service when the time comes. Wow. Okay. It was actually Wayne saying the bread man who comes around seemingly randomly, a random bread man, is excellent for the rolls and dipping bread. Maria, do you have a delivery?
Yes. every
Okay.
day. And it was actually my banker, when I was complaining about having to run out in my pajamas to put the bread bag out and to tell him what I wanted, to actually interact with him, you know, human interaction. And she says, oh no, forget about that. Just text him. Just text him what you want. I said, text the bread man? So now I do that. So I just send him a text in the morning, and then he bills me at the end of the month. And I leave the money, you know, wrapped in a little envelope, and I put it at the gate, and he takes it and leaves the change. But before, yes, I used to be always looking for coins. I used to be always looking for 45 cents for the normal loaf, the standard, you know, loaf. And then if I got fancy and got the spelt loaf or something, that sometimes inched up to, you know, 90 or €1. But yeah, he comes every day, 9 o'clock.
Still amazing, amazing value. That's about
Yeah.
the time expats get up as well, isn't it? About 9 o'clock.
Yes.
So, there was a question.
Except you.
Yeah, yes, apart from me. Jeff, we use Ocado in England. Do any supermarkets in Portugal deliver? I think one of the things about being in Portugal is it's lovely to go to the shops and to the market. But do either you, Maria, or Bruce or Astrid have any experience of supermarket deliveries?
The only time that I did a home delivery order was when the shutdown first started here with the coronavirus, just in case, you know, when they shut everything down. I thought I would do an order so I didn't have to go and wait in the queues at the supermarket. And it was with Continent, and I ordered quite a few bits of meat, you know, chicken and whatever. And the delivery time was 8 weeks. And when it finally came around to being delivered, there was like 3 things off an order of probably 30 items. So I kind of gave up, and I just don't do it anymore. I prefer to shop in person, but I'm sure for a lot of people it's very convenient and good. But my experience wasn't great, but under unusual circumstances.
Yes, of course. Yeah, and a big demand, I guess, with the pandemic and so on. So, Maria or Bruce, anything on delivery? Do you prefer to go out?
No, yes, we prefer to go out. You know, I meant to say that our €100 a week budget for food also includes like one meal out, because being out is very, very, very economical here in Portugal. But yeah. I've noticed that during the pandemic and during these lockdowns and during the difficulties in getting around, in traveling from province, even within your own province, from municipality to municipality, more and more, especially the large chains, the Aldis, the Continentes, the Auchan, the Pingo Doce, all of those are offering delivery services. And I don't know, I'm funny. I like to go and see and pick out, you know, the cucumber that I want. I don't want, you know, to be surprised and what, that's not what I ordered. Now, could be my Portuguese, of course, but they're all offering it now because they're doing everything that they can to meet the market's demands under the current difficult situations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can I add something here?
Of course, Anna.
Well, yeah, just to explain you. For people over 65, most of the brands offer home delivery. So if you are over 65 years, the rest of them you have to pay sometimes. But if you buy more than some kind of amount of money, it's free of charge.
Amazing.
For instance, I prefer Pingo Doce. It really depends on the place where you are. I live in Cascais. I live just the house on the back of our street. It's my hometown photo. So in here, the Pingo Doce is really good for fish and for meat. So it depends on the places where you are. Other Pingo Doce may be better for other things, but and so they have a service. It's not directly from there. It's called Mercadão, which is a website where you can do every shop, and they have a personal shopper, which means it's different from Continente. Because they call you when they are at the supermarket doing your list, and if there's something missing, they call you and ask if you want to change for another product, another label, or anything. And if you buy over 100 euros, it's free of charge, even if you are younger than 65. So it of course, before the COVID, it was a service less wanted. Now everybody, most of the people in big cities are asking for deliveries, because it's to avoid going to a crowded supermarket. If you live in small towns, not the same problem, but if you live in big towns or in big cities, it's a lot of people inside of supermarkets. Sometimes you have to wait in the line to enter because there's a limit of persons inside. But there are also a supermarket you did not mention there. Well, actually two. One is Mercadona, which is a Spanish label, and it's coming bigger and bigger in Portugal, mostly in the north parts. And it's very pleasant to go there because everything is really nice. And the other one is also Spanish, which is El Corte Inglés. I don't know if you have, because they are only on big cities, Porto and Lisbon. But they also offer the home delivery, and it's really a different supermarket, especially for Portuguese, which are used to go there and touch everything and pick up everything. If you go to there, you have to wear gloves and you have to choose special fruit, and it's high. The price is higher, but those two are also good offers for supermarkets.
Oh, that's really good to know, Anna.
But nowadays the online offer it's huge, and sometimes they make promotions, and you can home deliver and pay nothing. So
Amazing.
sometimes it's a good option. Yeah.
Yes, if you wouldn't mind putting that service, is it Mercadon?
Mercadão, yeah. It's called Mercadão.
No
It works with Pingo Doce, but it's an outside, it's like outsourcing. It's a company which started like with a small group of team working. So, and now it's a big business, including you can have your job, and then it's like a Uber service. You can join the Mercadão, and it's an extra job you do in the end of the day or in the weekends. You just dress up as a shopper and you go to the supermarket, and they pay you a fee to do the delivery. So it's like a extra job for some people during the crisis, and it's really a good service because it's different. If you buy on Continent online, there's somebody there, they pick up everything, and you just receive an email saying, well, this is not on your list, this is not. You cannot choose to replace the products. But with Mercadão, they call you and they are inside of the store, and they tell you, oh, this label is off, do you want this one or do you prefer this one? You can choose the way you cut the fish, you can choose the way you present the meat to ask the guys. So it's a different way of online shopping.
You could ask them to squeeze the avocados, and then you don't get in trouble yourself.
And now they have deliveries you can buy and receive in the same day, like 2 hours after you can receive the groceries at home. So it's really good for people who are working all day and they just call on lunchtime to receive the groceries at night. So it's
great thing to know about. Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you for that, and I really appreciate it. Always appreciate your contributions. Thank you. The real Portuguese person here. Hi, everyone. On average, from Andre. Hi, Andre. How much would a 1 week food basket cost for 2 adults, vegetables, mostly no animals products, for a normal vegan diet? I think we were talking about the €100 mark, weren't we? Similar household size to Maria and Bruce there. And I guess where you're saving on meat, you might be paying a bit of a vegan premium on some specialty products. So would you agree, Maria, Bruce?
Yes.
Looking at about €100 again there?
I spend we don't eat a lot of meat. We primarily have a vegetarian-based diet, but we do eat meat, but I just prefer vegetables. And for me to shop for myself, my husband and 2 girls, probably spend like €100 a week in the supermarket, sometimes less. So that's kind of the more extreme side. But I do also like to splurge on some quality products too. So I don't go the supermarket brands. I treat myself to some of the nice things. So But yeah, probably for vegan without cheeses and things like that, you'd definitely go much lower than that.
Haley's guess on that. Thanks, Astrid. Haley's guess on that, it would be around 70 to 80 euros. Hello, Haley, and welcome to the Ask Our Expats team. You've recently come to Portugal from Singapore, and you've joined this merry band that's growing now of Ask Our Expats, a new service from expatsportugal.com, where you can get us to be your eyes and ears on the ground. So welcome to the team, Haley. Yeah, Andre, 70 to 80 euros. And I knew this question would come up. And it's an extension of Bruce stirring up the controversy about Heinz beans, but these things that we might miss and where to get them from. Glued is one of the suppliers. I think they have some shops, don't they? And you use Glue, don't you, for your Vegemite, Astrid?
That's where I get my Vegemite, yep.
Right.
That's pretty good. We've managed to get 50 minutes into this before Vegemite was mentioned.
We didn't do so well with Lidl, but yes, 50 minutes of Vegemite. And other people are saying, use Amazon to ship foods as well that are difficult to come by. And maybe some of those branded goods that we were talking about before, Michael, it might be worth giving Jeff Bezos even more money and bringing him in via Amazon. As we conclude and wrap up, our special guests tonight, Maria and Bruce, is there anything in the questions there that you've heard or anything else you wanted to respond to, add to? Maria first.
There was a question about eggs.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, because I actually, when I saw your thing on Facebook today, when you were in the chicken coop, I was thinking, oh, I've got to get my chickens going. I haven't started that yet. But yeah, that was a change for me. I had never, I just thought, oh my God, these eggs are going to go bad because they're all sitting out, it's like Bruce said, the entire aisle full of milk. It's the same when you see, all of these eggs. And then when I open the container to see if there are any cracks, the eggs all have like dirt and feathers on them. So that took a little getting used to. But I think the eggs here are, I'm buying the free range eggs, they say, who knows, and they're all very good quality. Yeah. But the eggs, yeah, that was the surprise for me. And I think it has something to do with the protective coating on the egg isn't washed off by the industrial processing. I don't know. But anyways, I do put my eggs in the fridge once I come home. It's a habit.
Well, I can thoroughly recommend. I've never kept chickens myself before coming to Portugal, and I have fallen in love with Kate, Barbara, Shaka, Whitney, and the rest of them. It's a really special thing, I have to say. Bruce, this differential across the country, can you speak to that? Do you think there's a difference in price depending, let's say, if you're in Aveiro or in Porto or in the Algarve?
Absolutely. You're going to pay more in the bigger cities, Porto, Cascais, which is not a bigger city, but it's close to Lisbon. When it was mentioned before about Mercadona, we are on the border right now. Elvas is right on the border of Badajoz, which is in Spain. So we do our shopping at Mercadona very, very often because we love the stuff. They have a great variety. And I will say this much, that the same shopping cart of food, as cheap as it is in Portugal, it's 10 euros less for that same shopping cart at Mercadona in Spain. Unfortunately, things like gasoline, petrol for the car, butano or propano, for heating and so forth, are more expensive in Portugal than they are in Spain. And that's one of the reasons that we did buy a property right on the border.
Okay, so there's a nice little tip there. If you haven't chosen your location yet, it's worth thinking about being on the border so that you can take advantage of that price differential between Portugal and Spain.
Yeah, it's because of VAT tax. It's different in Spain, so we pay more tax in Portugal. So the supermarket with the same Mercadona, it can cost different in Spain and in Portugal.
Yes,
I think I'm a great fan of Mercadona. I love some of their products. But
I love them products also.
But they don't have the same products in the Portuguese supermarkets as they do in the Spanish supermarkets.
No.
Sadly. So we still have to go to Spain for those treats.
Well, that's
and about the difference between north and south or different places, if you buy products that are local, like fruits and vegetables, even in the supermarket labels, you can find them less expensive in some countryside places than in big cities. Okay, even in the same label supermarket. So it depends. In the Algarve, it's more expensive, especially during summertime, and especially if you go to groceries. Not Pingo Doce, because Pingo Doce or Continent, it will be the same price all around the country. The difference is if they have local suppliers who supply like fruits or vegetables, it can depend on the place they are.
Okay.
For instance, the fish here in Cascais, it's different price in the Pingo Doce than in different other places with Pingo Doce, because here the provider for the fish is local, so it may depend on the place you are.
Anna, is it true as well, if you live on the border, you can celebrate New Year's Eve twice?
Yeah, of course.
There's another worthy consideration. Was that
yeah. And another advice is to get the cards. You know, there are fidelity cards. I don't know, loyalty cards. It can help a lot with the promotions and everything. You can get extra discount for the gas gas for the car, or you can have amounts of money in your car to use in the next shop. So sometimes the promotions are only valid if you have the card. So it's not extremely couponing like in the US, but we also have a loyalty card, which is very good, especially for Pingo Doce and also for Continent. They are good cards with it.
And they're actually in Pingo Doce, you reminded me that their special dietary requirement shelves and organic shelves are pretty good too, aren't they?
Yeah, and also Auchan, which were Jumbo before, but now is Auchan. They have also a very good range of diets and vegan and biological products. They don't have many stores, but if you can get to a big store, there's a good variety of it.
Brilliant. We didn't answer this question, and we really must, from Tammy. Thank you, Anna. Silly question, is there cereal there? Plenty of cereal. Just like the whole aisle of eggs, there is, and the whole aisle of milk, there is a whole aisle of cereals as well. And if you go into the special requirements section, you'll find all the other gluten-free things as well. Jeff, Carl, what about Brit food? Jeff, why did you have to ask this? You're making me miss these things now. Yorkshire puds. I would recommend making your own anyway. I've never seen grandma batties or whatever they're called in a freezer here, and I don't expect to. Meat and potato pie, definitely homemade again. Trifle, homemade again. I'm thinking like a British trifle with a Portuguese twist, with maybe Maria biscuits in the base instead of sponge. That's going to be awesome too. HP sauce, not seen that, Jeff, but I have seen other brown sauces. I know it's not the same, but you can get something that approximates. I'm a bit biased there, and thank you for asking that question. I think we have missed one or two tonight of the questions. I think there will be a chance to blend and mingle, as it were, after
Bruce wants to speak.
Please, Bruce.
Yeah, I just wanted to, my concluding comment would be to always check your receipt, okay? I'm not going to mention which chain of stores, but there is one particular chain that sends out 2 or 3 brochures a week announcing sale items. And we have gone to that store, and they do not have, their computer is not correlated with the sale prices that are announced in their flyers and in their advertising circulars. And so what happens is, you know how it is in Portugal, okay? Everybody on the line has to wait behind you. The gal at the cashier has to have the manager come over. The manager's got to go over to check the price on the product. Usually comes back, you have to bring with you, and I would suggest that you always bring with you the flyer, okay? So you can point to the item on the page showing the price. Okay.
Very good. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Bruce. That's important. And a little bit of a miracle here. Yes, you can get HP sauce, regular and fruity, no less, Jeff. And a serious thing here. Jason's not coming if they don't have muesli. And neither am I, because he'll be so miserable if they don't have it. Do they have muesli? Yes, you can get muesli in Portugal, absolutely. A few of us are going to make our way over to the Good Morning Portugal Wine Club now. That's a growing number of people. And I'll leave you with Astrid and Jerry. And thank you, Maria. Thank you, Bruce, so much for your information tonight and participating and being part of this cost of living special webinar. Thank you very much indeed.